It's hard to believe that PlayStation VR was released 6 months ago, but right now it is without a doubt one of the most exciting pieces of technology in the gaming industry. But it is an absolute slow burner. While we already have some incredible games for PSVR, such as Resident Evil 7, we're all patiently looking forward to the next big VR game. And while we're waiting to see if Farpoint could be the next big thing, in the meantime, Lucid Sight has released their own game to hold our attention until then, called HeroCade. For $15, HeroCade is a compilation of 9 different VR games, most of which have already been released on Samsung Gear VR. It's unrealistic to expect HeroCade to contain 9 amazing games for the low price of $15, but regardless, let's see if there's something special hidden away in this cheap VR package. We're going to dissect each of the 9 games featured in this compilation in order of the games I played from first to last, which was basically randomized. To start this off, we're going to talk about Space Bin Attack. I wish I could call this a 3D VR version of the classic Space Invaders, but instead, this is a painfully slow-paced motion-based shooter. Motion-based shooter. You navigate your ship with the left stick and aim your reticle at these aliens by physically moving your head. While fun in theory, you can't move the reticle 2 inches without the game saying you can't move it anymore, which means moving the ship around without ever moving your head is the most effective way to eliminate targets, which isn't very fun. What's worse is that the movement speed of the aliens as well as your rate of fire is slow. You can only fire 3 rounds every 5 seconds, which makes this experience much more dull than it needs to be. While it's a great concept, the brutally slow pace and the lack of variety make this a boring game that had the potential of being one addictive minigame. The second game I played is called Sisters, which is one of the only games featured here that were not developed by Lucid Sight. Instead, it's by Otherworld Interactive. Regardless, this is actually just a demo for the game Sisters, as the entire experience is over within 2 minutes. It's a horror game where you sit in a room and you look at stuff. A doll will move around the room a few times, a chair will fall over, and then it ends. It's clear that the game is doing its hardest to scare you with these loud sound effects and horror-based imagery. But instead, I just sat there trying to understand how the game was going to scare me, completely unimpressed with the experience. Regardless of whether you play the impeccable Resident Evil 7 or not, this is simply not scary and it's not worth your time. Next, we have Alpha Turkey Hunt, where you stand still and try to shoot waves of moving cardboard turkeys bound to sticks. You start off with the M9 handgun, and it works and feels very well. Unlike many VR shooters where you just point a flashlight and fire when it's on a target, here you have to actually aim down the sights to effectively take out the turkeys. There are only 3 poorly designed maps, and there isn't much variety in the experience as a whole. While there is an upgrade system where you can purchase a shotgun or a submachine gun, by the time you have enough points to purchase new weapons, you're already sick of the game. Plus, the only sound effect of the game besides your weapon are the turkeys gobbling, and it is absolutely the most f***ing annoying thing ever.
God, these f***ing turkeys are annoying as shit.
Next we have, Jumi no Yumi? Gummy no Yummy? Gummy no Yumi? I don't know, I'm just gonna call it Gummy. Gummy is a terrible puzzle game, where you push gummy bears to a spot that matches their color in a certain amount of moves, otherwise you fail. The gameplay system is boring and completely unsatisfying. To even see the game, you have to look straight down at the floor, and the viewing angle is not only uncomfortable, but it gives you an awkward view of the level and the heads-up display. Plus, the controls are terrible as well. It's a bad VR experience and a bad puzzle game in its own right. Now we have Polyrunner, an endless runner where you guide a ship forward without hitting any of the obstacles. It's a simple concept, but it's a fairly addictive one. There are 3 ways to control the ship. One way is to use the analog stick on the controller, which to no surprise is the most accurate control scheme. But you can also play by either turning your head left and right, or by tilting your head left or right, and both of these control schemes handle very well. Guiding the ship using your head was a lot of fun, and I can imagine it would be fun to challenge your friends and family for the high score if it wasn't for a big problem. There are hills in the game. All of these hills are at varying heights. It is sometimes impossible to tell which hills you're able to crash in, causing an instant game over. It is so unclear whether or not you'll just coast over the hill or die. Other than that, this is an enjoyable game, especially when you learn how to glitch the game out. Next, we have Z-Strike, a game that has you shoot zombies in an AC-130. I enjoyed the controls for this game, in which you examine the entire map by moving your head, press an X to zoom in, and carefully aim your shots by slowly moving your head. At certain moments, I had a bit of fun accurately hitting these slow-moving zombies in a different type of VR experience. But the game design as a whole is bad. The visuals are boring and uninspired, the enemy and friendly AI are laughably stupid, the placement of zombies and humans are weird, the upgrade system suffers from horrible balancing issues, and you'll spend the majority of your time literally doing nothing. I know being the gunner in an AC-130 isn't supposed to be a fast-paced, exhilarating experience, but this game can get absolutely boring. But I will admit, the zombie that randomly appears behind you in the main menu scared the crap out of me. Next, we have Jurassic Survival, which is in fact the only game in HeroCade to have been made exclusively for PlayStation VR. You stand still and shoot dinosaurs using the same weapons found in Turkey Hunt. The environments and visual design are decent, and for the first 30 seconds, I did feel a bit tense, until I realized how repetitive, easy, and boring this game is after the first minute. Dinosaurs take forever to spawn and do so little damage that it is close to impossible to die on accident. I found myself standing still, waiting for something to happen in moments that lasted for almost 3 minutes on multiple occasions. It was so boring that I would have fallen asleep in VR if I wasn't standing. And while I did feel tense and a little scared when I heard the giant T-Rex approaching for the first time, I just laughed my ass off when I realized it moves at almost 3 frames a second.
Come on. Did he die? I think he died.
The second last game I played was 405 Road Rage, where you drive a car down a one-way or a two-way, try not to hit or to get hit by any of the other vehicles. You control the car by turning your head, and the controls are very responsive. Unlike other games in this package, the gameplay isn't broken and the game is fairly addictive. Plus, the art style and visuals as a whole are pretty great. There's also a mode called Bomb Bus, where you can't go under the speed of 55 miles per hour, which is a fantastic reference to speed. Besides the terrible upgrade system, this is a fun, addicting game that anyone could get their hands on. Or get their heads in? I guess that makes more sense. And finally, we have Dreadhalls, which is without a doubt the standout of the package. Developed by White Door Games, Dreadhalls is one of the very first commercial horror games that properly utilizes VR. And while we've certainly received many far superior VR horror games, like Resident Evil 7, which is without a doubt the best VR experience available, Dreadhalls is an okay game that did scare me on multiple occasions. You explore randomly generated mazes, trying to find these weird looking eyes in order to move on to the next level and eventually escape. The environments look terrible, the AI is absolutely laughable, and there are many dumb gameplay mechanics such as unnecessary lockpicking, but the game did genuinely give me an uneasy feeling for the majority of the 30 minutes it takes to complete it. Regardless, this was an enjoyable VR experience that, while mediocre in certain areas, is definitely a great choice for someone wanting to play a horror game in VR for the very first time. HeroCade is a wide mess of random VR experiences that all vary in quality. The majority of these games were originally made as smartphone VR experiences, which makes many of these games totally incomparable to proper PlayStation VR games. And while there are many terrible games and experiences here that I wouldn't recommend to anyone, games like Dreadhalls, 405 Road Rage, and Polyrunner are fun games that are great for people new to virtual reality. If you plan on having many inexperienced gamers try out your PSVR headset, well, I'd much rather recommend PSVR Worlds as the optimal bundle of games. For just $15, you pretty much get what you pay for. HeroCade receives a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my review of HeroCade. If you have any questions that I didn't bother answering yet, ask away in the comments below and I'll be sure to respond. If you want to see more PlayStation VR videos and you aren't subscribed to BathroomGamers already, then you should probably subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Thank you for watching and stay fresh.